If not our loved ones, who can we trust in this world? A world steeped in lies and darkness. Evil that doesn't just deceive, it kills. October 2012. 24-year-old Rebecca Gay vanished in broad daylight. The investigation into her disappearance unearthed a chilling truth. Her killer was someone trusted, not just by Rebecca and her family, but by the entire community. Halloween is meant to be eerie, a night of playful costumes, decorations and treats. But this Halloween birthed a true nightmare, a monster hiding behind an ordinary mask, far more terrifying than any tale. Before we dive in, please support my channel. Subscribe, like and stay engaged. It means the world. I'm deeply grateful. Now let's begin. Rebecca Gay was born March 26, 1988, to Thomas and Sally Gay. She grew up with 3 siblings in Midland, Michigan. Her father, Thomas, was a pillar of the community, renowned for his mastery of horseback riding, horse care and training. Thomas co-founded a charity horse race, raising funds for a children's hospital. Compassion defined him, for both people and animals. Thomas shaped his children's values, instilling unity, faith and resilience. Rebecca's childhood was small-town safe, in a tight-knit Midland community, where neighbors were family. She played with siblings in the yard, went to church and attended school. Her gentle nature glowed, with a compassionate spirit, mirroring her parents' heart. When her father fell gravely ill, the family faced a gut-wrenching choice to place him in hospice. There, he received constant care and comfort. His family visited tirelessly, lighting up his final days. Rebecca, then in high school in Midland, rode on the equestrian team and volunteered at archery events, raising funds for struggling families. She carried her father's legacy. After graduating in 2007, Rebecca chose a path in beauty, enrolling in cosmetology school. During this time, she fell deeply in love with Chad Sando. She finished her training, working as a stylist in a Mount Pleasant salon near her mother Sally's home. After Thomas entered hospice and passed away, Sally was left utterly alone. Her children had grown, living their own lives, facing a lonely future. Sally, long married to Thomas, faced life's trials alone. Unfamiliar with solitude, she sought solace in online dating, not seeking a new husband, just someone to confide in, to share her pain and ease her loneliness. She moved to a mobile home in Broomfield Valley's trailer park. There, she met a man online, John Douglas White from Augusta, Michigan, just 2 hours away. They soon lived together. John became pastor at a local church where Sally taught Sunday school. They bonded deeply, sharing passions rooted in their Christian faith. Mount Pleasant, Michigan, home to just under 20,000. Sally's neighborhood, 20 minutes from Mount Pleasant, was quiet, rural farmland, a calm place to raise a family. Rebecca, Sally's youngest, soon learned she was pregnant. When Connor was born, Rebecca and Chad poured their hearts into his future. They fought to forge a secure, loving home, but fate cast a cruel shadow. A newborn tests even the strongest bonds, and in their case, Chad crumbled under the strain. Motherhood reshaped Rebecca's very soul. Connor became her entire universe. Every fiber of her was devoted to crafting his perfect life. Rebecca was always kind, but motherhood fueled her fierce resolve. It ignited a deeper, unshakable purpose. She tackled grueling work days, embracing the trials of single motherhood. Despite the struggles, she never wavered. She met every challenge with quiet strength. Yet she craved a lifeline. Rebecca rented a modest trailer near her mother's home in Broomfield Valley's trailer park. Sally's closeness gave her peace. Sally and John lived just across the street. Rebecca and Connor gathered nightly at Sally's warm home. John cooked hearty dinners and watched over Connor with care. He embraced the role of family patriarch. Eagerly, he became a father figure to Rebecca and a grandfather to Connor. He shuttled Connor to daycare, caring for him when Rebecca was swamped. Rebecca thrived in cosmetology for a time, but Connor's birth made long salon hours impossible. She switched to retail in Mount Pleasant. She trusted Sally and John with Connor. They had become her true family. Rebecca shone at work, swiftly rising to a managerial role. Her personal life bloomed with hope. Then she met Aaron Quinn. Connor was just a year old then. Aaron cherished Connor as his own. He loved Rebecca with fierce devotion, secretly planning to propose soon. Aaron's family embraced Rebecca as kin, and Sally and her partner, John White, blessed her choice. Rebecca, in return, welcomed John as true family. When John fell ill with a brutal cold, Rebecca brought warm soup, fetched medicine, and ordered him pizza. John was her rock for Connor's care. Rebecca leaned on a strong support system. Her future glowed with promise. To her, it was vital to be surrounded by trusted souls. Her life was humble, but brimmed with love and warmth. She ensured Connor lacked for nothing. In 2012, Connor turned 3, Halloween drawing near. Rebecca's heart raced with excitement. Halloween, her favorite holiday since her own childhood. Connor was now old enough for costumes. Thrilled by the promise of trick-or-treating, she chose an adorable Spider-Man costume for him. At her store, a shipment of scarecrows arrived. She bought 8 to haunt her yard. She delighted in decking her home. Pumpkins glowing on the porch, eerie cobwebs draped on walls, spooky signs hung on the door. On Halloween Eve, Rebecca stayed home with Connor. Come morning, she'd drop Connor with Chad, his father, for the day. After work, she'd fetch him, dress him in costume for his first trick-or-treating adventure. Her heart brimmed with Halloween dreams. She called Sally and Aaron, bursting with joy. That evening, she was, as always, radiant, lost in Halloween's magic. No one foresaw the darkness that would steal her holiday. For months, Rebecca worked morning shifts to cherish every moment with Connor. When Rebecca didn't appear for work on October 31st, 2012, alarm bells rang instantly. Her absence stunned her bosses and co-workers alike. Rebecca hadn't called in, no word, no hint of why she was gone. A manager like her would never oversleep or skip work. Worse still, she was completely unreachable. No one could contact her. Management sent a co-worker to her trailer to check if she was safe. Maybe an emergency had kept her home, but no one answered her door. The trailer felt eerily deserted. He tested the door. It was locked tight. He climbed back into his car, heading to the store. Then he spotted something chilling. Yards from Rebecca's trailer sat a bar. In its lot, a light blue sedan, a 4-door Buick, Rebecca's car. But why was it parked there? Her driveway sat empty right at home. Her co-worker entered the bar. He questioned staff about the Buick. The night bartender recalled seeing the car. It was parked there, but Rebecca never stepped inside. Last night, she'd been with her son. A bar visit seemed unthinkable. She'd never leave Connor alone. Still, the bar staff found the trailer park owner's number. The owner agreed to unlock Rebecca's door. Her co-worker needed to know she was safe. Rebecca was only 24, young, vibrant, yet something dire could have struck. Perhaps she was inside, unable to respond. But the trailer was empty. Only her cherished purse, never left behind, sat open on the table. A gift from Aaron. Her co-worker called Sally and John. Had Rebecca mentioned any plans that day? When her mother heard. Rebecca missed work. She and John raced to the trailer. Neighbors clustered outside, anxious. They whispered about where she could be. By noon, her family reported her missing. They alerted the county sheriff's office, but police hesitated to act. Rebecca was an adult, so they avoided rash assumptions. Still, they admitted it felt suspicious. Police waited until 4:30 p.m., when Rebecca was due to get Connor, to rule out a simple mix-up. Missing work was one thing, but ghosting her family and boyfriend was alarming. A mother not picking up her son screamed something was wrong. Thus 4.5 precious hours. that could have been used to hunt for clues, search for evidence, and unravel her vanishing, slipped away. Rebecca's family could only wait in dread. John White called her friends and contacts. As a pastor, he rallied his congregation. He pleaded for search help. Sally prayed for her daughter's safety, hoping she'd return with answers soon. Her loved ones fought rising panic, but fear gripped them tightly. That morning, Connor had to be dropped at a grocery store lot for Chad to pick him up. Rebecca's day shift made it impossible, so she couldn't make the drop-off. John and Sally stepped in to help. That morning, John White reached her trailer by 7 a.m. Rebecca was in the bathroom, preparing for work as John waited for Connor. He changed Connor out of pajamas and drove him to his father. John saw nothing odd that morning. Now he wondered where Rebecca vanished in mere hours. By 4:30 p.m., she still hadn't surfaced. Police obtained a warrant for her trailer and car. They dove into what could have happened. They scoured the trailer first. The open purse caught their eye, but her keys and phone had vanished without a trace. No signs of forced entry. Either Rebecca took them herself, or her abductor did. The darkest clue was still hidden. A stain marked the hallway carpet. It looked fresher than the surrounding fibers, as if scrubbed in haste. Closer inspection revealed dark, ominous streaks. Could it be blood, or just Connor's spilled juice? Perhaps Rebecca tried to scrub it clean. Then on a wall nearby, detectives spotted tiny blood droplets. Splatters stained kitchen cabinets too, and a door handle. These were chilling signs. Police sealed the trailer with yellow crime scene tape. It clashed grimly with her Halloween decorations. Investigators turned to Rebecca's car. Something felt immediately wrong. Rebecca, small in stature, kept her car seat close to the steering wheel, but now it was shoved far back. From that position, Rebecca couldn't reach the pedals. Worse still, the car's odd location and parking, tucked among shadowy trees, sparked suspicion. Police now knew a crime had struck. They questioned relatives, friends and co-workers. Who could want to harm Rebecca Gay? No one could fathom it. Who held a grudge against her? She was kind, private, and stirred no trouble. She shunned risky ventures. She had no enemies. As neighborhood kids reveled in Halloween joy, trick-or-treating with candy-filled buckets, Rebecca's family drowned in dread. Connor's first Halloween would forever be stained by the crushing weight of his mother's vanishing. That day, he never wore his Spider-Man costume, nor joined holiday traditions. John urged a church elder to pray for Rebecca's safe return. The family's pain was unimaginable. As costumed crowds roamed in fake blood, real bloodstains haunted their loved ones' home. Halloween night turned sinister. For Rebecca's family, costumes lost all charm. A real monster could lurk behind any mask, a true criminal, hidden in plain sight. Police first eyed Chad Sando, Connor's father, Rebecca's ex-boyfriend, then her current boyfriend, Aaron Quinn. When a woman vanishes, partners are the first under scrutiny. Both men faced police questioning. Aaron cooperated, his grief palpable. He was shattered by Rebecca's disappearance. He knew how much this day meant to her. He last spoke to her the night before. At 10:43 p.m., he sent a goodnight text. She didn't reply. Aaron assumed she was already asleep. Her silence to his morning text stunned him. The message didn't even deliver. Her phone was off or out of service. This clue tightened the timeline of when Rebecca fell silent. Police cleared Aaron after verifying his whereabouts that morning. Suspicion lifted from him. His alibi held solid. In fact, Aaron confessed to detectives he'd been planning to propose to Rebecca. For weeks he'd saved for a ring, waiting for the perfect moment. He hoped it would be Halloween night, Rebecca's favorite holiday. But his dreams were shattered. Police briefly wondered if Rebecca fled to escape Aaron, but they quickly dismissed that idea. Everyone swore she loved Aaron, dreaming of a future together. They'd planned a life as a family, a shared dream of marriage. Next, police turned to Chad, but he offered little insight. He spoke warmly of his ex-girlfriend, despite their past challenges. They kept a cordial bond, always putting their son first. Finally, police eyed another man close to Rebecca, Pastor John White, Sally's fiancé, a pillar in Connor's upbringing, was likely the last to see Rebecca alive. He came to fetch Connor, to deliver him to his father. As Rebecca prepared for work, John faced a barrage of scrutiny. Detectives dissected his precise responses. Such pressure could unsettle anyone. Daily routines blur in memory's haze. Details matter only in hindsight's glare. What was Rebecca wearing? Did she seem normal or strangely off? Was she heading straight to work? Or did she mention the bar? How did Connor act, or what did he say? Questions piled up relentlessly. Yet, detectives hoped John could unlock clues. To track down Rebecca's fate, John strained to aid the police, recounting that morning's events. At 55, early mornings for Rebecca posed no burden. He reached her trailer, porch light glowing, door unlocked. He assumed Rebecca was awake, readying for her shift. Inside, water ran in the bathroom. He never saw Rebecca, only heard her. She called out that Connor still slept, urging John to rest a bit, to switch off the heater. Before they left, John dozed on the couch briefly. Connor woke him around 8 a.m. By then, Rebecca had left for work. He dressed Connor and took him to Chad. At first glance, his story seemed airtight, unremarkable, but a chilling detail caught their eye, something deeply unsettling. Fresh cuts marked John's nose and hands. They looked like defensive wounds. When pressed, he offered a calm explanation. He claimed he'd been fixing his trailer that day. A shelf fell, grazing his nose. He offered to show police exactly how it happened. Detectives took his word, releasing him. They pressed on with their probe. They questioned neighbors, friends and family, anyone tied to Rebecca. They probed her bond with John White, her mother's fiancé, piecing together fragments. Police uncovered moments that shifted their view entirely. They zeroed in on John. No other suspects emerged. They grilled the congregation, 24 souls who revered Pastor White. Sally Gay, a Sunday school teacher, adored him. She'd found a pastor posting years ago and urged John to apply. He held a minister's license from years past. He stepped into the role eagerly. An elder vouched for his hiring, swearing John White was a godly man, untouched by Rebecca's disappearance. He was gentle, easy to talk to, respected for aiding not just Rebecca. John cleaned her gutters when they clogged. He helped a family of 6 build a deck in their yard. He often watched their children. John had been in Rebecca and Sally's lives for over 6 years, earning unwavering trust, detectives clarified. They had to rule out everyone close to her. It was standard protocol. As they spoke to the community, whispers grew that police eyed Pastor White. Doubts about him began to creep in. For example, bar staff shared a troubling insight. Pastor White savoured strong drinks, a sin frowned upon in his faith. That Halloween morning, he stopped by, asking about Rebecca. Some co-workers revealed Rebecca had confided often that John made her skin crawl. She even mulled moving away. Others noticed cracks in John's facade. His bond with Rebecca felt off. Aaron too sensed something amiss. He called John's attention to Rebecca obsessive. After she got a permanent hairstyle, John visited daily, showering her with praise. He appeared uninvited at her home and work. His actions felt deeply wrong. John didn't see Rebecca as a daughter. He viewed her as a captivating young woman. John White's sister told police he often spoke, thrilled about his family with Sally, Rebecca and young Connor. But when Rebecca began dating Aaron, distancing from her mother and John, he grew bitter. He said after all his help, Rebecca had betrayed him, repeating it obsessively. His sister brushed it off. Why would a young woman linger with older folks? At the time, she dismissed his words. But with Rebecca now missing, she feared John had blurred his bond with Sally. Fixating on Rebecca, his obsession seemed twisted, given his past. With conflicting tales about the pastor, police urged him to take a polygraph. It was the fastest way to dispel doubts or unmask lies. Knowing polygraphs can falter, swayed by emotional turmoil, John wavered. Should he face the test? Sally, Rebecca's mother, pleaded with him to comply, to prove he had no hand in her daughter's vanishing. When John finally agreed, a detective picked him up in a patrol car, seating him in front deliberately. They hoped to pry out truths on the drive to a city with polygraph gear. They talked of mundane things, easing John into comfort. The tactic worked like a charm. Before arriving, John revealed why he dreaded the polygraph. He confessed to a hidden criminal past, unknown to Sally and the church. These weren't petty crimes. He'd been tied to an attempted murder. Younger then, he was a different man. He made grave errors, some leading to jail. But that was over. The case closed and he was freed. White claimed he was wrongly convicted, a scar that shaped his life. He told the detective after release he rebuilt his life. The church offered redemption, and he seized it while police dug deeper. The community refused to stand idle. In this tight-knit town, where bonds ran deep, everyone ached to help find Rebecca. Volunteers rallied search parties, scouring the area near her trailer, hunting for any trace of her. They sought clues to her fate. Social media buzzed with pleas for information. Flyers with Rebecca's face blanketed the town, on poles, shop windows and community boards. Tension mounted hourly, yet no leads surfaced. As John faced the polygraph, detectives probed his shadowy past. What they uncovered was chilling. The revelations shook the police force. White, a former convict, now a pastor, posed as a redeemed saint. He used his past to inspire others. So who was Pastor John? John Douglas White was born on May 20th, 1957. He had two sisters, one older, one younger, with whom he shared a tight bond. Their father was a police chief, fire chief, and mayor of Augusta, Michigan, where they grew up. Trouble followed John straight to his father's desk, so he tried to stay in line. John's childhood seemed normal, wholesome. He spent his days with family. After high school, White joined the Navy, later discharged and wed. At his new home, he befriended a 17-year-old neighbor, Teresa Etherton. One day, he lured her to his basement, promising to show a sleek, model car racing track he claimed to have crafted. Teresa trusted him, seeing no cause for alarm. She followed him down to the basement. Once behind her, John suddenly stabbed her beneath her right shoulder blade. Stunned, Teresa spun to face him. She saw John White, gripping a knife, his face twisted in anguish. Moments later, the brutal attack resumed. He plunged the knife into Teresa 15 times, then tried to choke her lifeless. Miraculously, she survived, fleeing the basement. After emergency medical care, she named John White to police. Teresa said, White confessed. This wasn't his first assault on women. His darkness ran chillingly deep. John was swiftly arrested, charged, and convicted of attempted murder. He told his wife he and Teresa were in the basement, smoking weed when she lunged with a knife. He claimed she wanted his stash, cutting his hands. At trial, White feigned tearful remorse, calling himself a young fool who erred gravely. He swore he'd never repeat it. He was only 22. White got 5 to 10 years for the savage attack. He was ordered to undergo psychological evaluation. In 1983, 2 years later, he appealed his conviction, claiming his lawyer failed him utterly. White secured a soft deal, freed after just 2 years in prison, with 2 years of probation. He was mandated to seek mental health care. Thus, John White escaped lightly. For a brutal assault on a defenseless girl, thanks to his lawyer's blunder and judicial leniency, John walked free. Yet his urge to harm women festered. 10 years later, a father of 2 with another child coming, John Long worked as a truck driver. For his kids, he took a steadier job, fixing machines at an industrial laundry. There, his dark urges to harm women reignited. In July 1994, Vicky Sue Wall, 26, vanished without a trace. She worked at the same laundry, entangled in a secret affair with John. They met in a stall's shadowed back lot, entwined in White's pickup truck. That's where she vanished. Suspicion fell hard on John White. He admitted to the affair, but swore he left Vicky alive. Cameras caught them in the lot. Vicky alive, seemingly unharmed. He claimed ignorance of her fate. Then White confessed to blackouts, saying he might not recall harming his lover. After this chilling admission, he told his wife he couldn't go on, threatening to take his own life. Instead, he fled and drowned in drink. Forensic teams later found bloodstains in White's truck, too faint for DNA analysis. DNA testing existed then, but demanded substantial material for reliable results. 6 weeks later, a passerby spotted a white tennis shoe in the grass 3 kilometers from the lot, near where Vicky was last seen. He noticed grim drag marks and a putrid stench of decay. The marks led to women's underwear, then to a decomposed corpse. It was Vicky Sue Wall's remains. The coroner couldn't pinpoint her cause of death due to severe environmental rot. One grim detail stood stark. She was partially unclothed, her shirt and bra twisted around her neck. Vicky's death was no natural end. She was murdered. John White was the prime suspect. He was in a psychiatric ward then, perhaps plotting to claim insanity to escape justice. He refused a polygraph, stonewalling about his affair with Vicky. Without hard evidence, police couldn't charge him. Prosecutors offered a plea deal, which he took, admitting to manslaughter. At sentencing, the judge cited his violent past against women, handing down the maximum penalty, 8 to 15 years in prison. But the nightmare didn't end. To friends and family, John boasted as a truck driver. He often hired prostitutes, sneering at them as lot lizards. After exploiting their services, he dumped them near trash bins, deeming them worthless to society. None of his victims dared report him, yet his chilling tales were backed by his brutal attacks on Teresa Etherton and Vicky Sue Wall. In prison, White confessed to his psychologist. He yearned to kill the prosecutor, his lawyer, and the judge. He revealed grotesque fantasies about their lifeless corpses. During his imprisonment, his wife divorced him and his parents died. White turned to the Bible, feigning repentance to devote himself to God. Behind bars, he joined group therapy, meeting often with mental health experts. He earned a minister's license and, as a model inmate, haunted the prison chapel. Despite glaring warning signs in his psyche, authorities bought his redemption story, freeing him in 2007 to rejoin society. No probation or oversight was imposed. Post-prison, White fled north to rebuild. He met Sally, Rebecca Gay's mother, through secretive online letters. He moved into her trailer park, becoming a pastor in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. When applying at the church, White spun a tale about his conviction, claiming he'd been with a woman who overdosed. She died, he panicked, and fled the scene. He paid a heavy price. The church swallowed his lies. John tirelessly thanked his flock for their trust in him, but his dark core remained untouched. He built a new life, far from his past, to dodge its haunting shadow. Yet the vile fantasies of his warped mind never dimmed. John's sickness ran dangerously deep. Police now feared he'd acted on those twisted urges. With Rebecca, as Pastor White faced the polygraph, detectives probed his sinister past. They were horrified by his violent history, targeting women relentlessly. He didn't hide his legal woes, but downplayed his guilt to a whisper. The church knew of John's criminal shadow, but the elder saw a saint reborn in faith, focused on his present and future. White aided parishioners, drawing on his past. He watched their kids, lived quietly, cloaked in respectability. Was he hiding dark schemes all along? Seeing through his masterful deception, police pierced his false front. The polygraph exposed his answers as lies. Armed with this revelation, detectives secured a warrant for his truck and trailer. They found red stains and a broken necklace in the truck, torn violently from someone's neck. It was confirmed as Rebecca's. In the truck's cab, a bag held zip ties, large construction trash bags, and small women's underwear, matching Rebecca's size exactly. In the trailer, a blood-stained rubber mallet surfaced. Police confronted White with these damning finds. He clung to claims Rebecca was kidnapped. He swore he knew nothing of her fate. The interrogation dragged on for 12 grueling hours. It was dawn on November 1st, 2012. Seeing White's resolve wouldn't crack, detectives played on his love for Sally. John's devotion to Sally was clear. Rebecca's mother, whom he vowed not to hurt, Sally had transformed his life, helped him become a pastor, and embraced him as family. Detectives pressed, detailing what would happen to Rebecca's body, describing decay's grotesque toll. They stressed how it would shatter Sally, to see her daughter's rotted remains, and how Connor would suffer, grappling with his mother's grim death. They urged that by confessing, John could prove his love for Sally. His fiancée. At first, White demanded a lawyer, but left alone with his torment. As officers stepped out, he agreed to speak freely, but first begged for one last call to Sally. When Sally picked up, John called her the love of his life, but said she'd never speak to him again. He didn't explain, only sobbed apologies, saying nothing could mend the ruin. Then he abruptly cut the call. Pastor John White begged for a deal, seeking lifelong imprisonment in isolation. He confessed to murdering Rebecca Gay. His chilling tale unfolded as follows. John lusted after Rebecca. On Halloween Eve, he browsed a vile necrophilia website, fueling his twisted desires after downing beers. He crept to Rebecca's home. At 2 a.m., her doors stood unlocked. Earlier, he'd visited Connor and Rebecca, deliberately leaving the trailer's back door ajar. John slipped in, and at the door's creak, Rebecca rushed from her bedroom. He bludgeoned her head repeatedly with a rubber mallet until she collapsed. Rebecca gazed at White, recognizing her betrayer. Her final sight was a man she trusted completely. Seeing her still breathing faintly, John looped a zip tie around her neck, strangling her with ruthless force. White sat, watching her life fade. He dragged her body to the kitchen, stripping it bare. He claimed he couldn't recall if he defiled her lifeless corpse. He scrubbed blood with spray cleaner and towels, then silenced Rebecca's phone. He stole her Buick keys, parked it near a bar, tossing keys and phone into a dumpster to deceive police. He returned to the trailer on foot, stuffing Rebecca's bloody clothes and towels into a large construction trash bag with her body. As he loaded it into his truck, the bag tore, her necklace fell. Blood seeped out. These clues damned him. He dumped Rebecca's remains in a ravine near the trailer park and discarded the bloodied towels. He scattered evidence, strewing it within a mile of the trailer. After erasing the crime's traces, he returned to Rebecca's trailer, sleeping coldly on her couch until dawn. The next morning, he dressed Connor, delivering him to his father, acting as if no horror had occurred. Rebecca Gay's body was found in the ravine, where White's directions led police. Her injuries matched his confession perfectly. John White was sentenced to 56 years minimum and up to 85 years. Parole possible only after 56 years. At 55 during sentencing, he faced life behind bars. Some monsters don't belong in society, the judge declared, condemning White, but the pastor monster, too cowardly to face his fate, ended his life on August 28, 2013 in his prison cell. John Douglas White's case laid bare flaws in the justice system, failing to cage a predator, allowing more horrors to unfold. If you've watched this far, you're a true crime devotee. Subscribe to our channel, hit the bell, and smash that like button. See you in the next video.